Alright, so a couple things off camera that I did now that the spec mix is dry is I cleaned out the upper tank. Basically put it down into the lower tank and then pumped the garbage out. The dirty, icky caca. Call it what you want. So what we're gonna do now, like I said, is what we're gonna do now, we'll just start over, is I'm gonna hook up the pump to this, right? Because right now it's just kind of a drain. And this is something I installed last year. It turns on and off the waterfall. Has a little bobber that when it's full, it shuts this valve off, sort of. It stops the water from coming out from this valve that's opened. So you can literally leave this opened all year unless the bobber stops working. So you kind of got to pay attention the first time of the year when you fill it up. Make sure that the water stops going in. I'm going to replace it this year though because it's a little worn. Also, it's a good idea to have electricity run. Last year I had it like sitting on that because that's how I got it when I bought it. It's not a good way. So I've got a couple of screws to put into here and then I'll be done with that part. So let's go ahead and fire up the waterfall here. And let's go find the end of the first tube. Another thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this out so that it's just one continuous tube to the waterfall so that I'm not dealing with this part of it anymore. Plus, so we can do drains on its own, right? So we're just gonna move this over here so we can use this. And I'm just gonna pull it out of my homemade system here. 1 second. I push it in there quite a ways, you know. There we go. Because you don't want the liquid to come out. You want it to go where you want it to go. So I go a little overboard. I probably go a little overboard and everything. All right, so we're gonna take this back this way. And this is a little long, but I've kept it long for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hook this to that, and then we'll use the clamp that's run away all the way over there and clamp it shut. Like I said, this year I'm just gonna get one pipe that goes from here all the way down. All right, so we got water coming in, and last year I put in a waterfall pump, and then I put in a second waterfall pump, and they both just kept dying. So I switched it out for a sub pump from Lowe's. This one's a Zoller, and it's worked great. Now, I'm not, they don't pay for me to say that or anything. This is just one of those ones that I like. And you can't clean and run a waterfall with just that. That will not work. One nice feature about this one though, is you see this little white bobber here. If the pond is not full enough, then it turns off. What was happening with the waterfall one is if the pond ever got too low, like from leaking or something, it would kill the pump. It was over because the pumps had to run with water in them. So anyway, there's a little bit of story on that. And so now we've got this running up, right, all the way up to here, which runs into this pipe, okay, that then runs into this upper bay. So then this one, there's a pipe in there, it'll fill up, and then it'll drop into this one, and that one will fill up, and it'll drop down there. And I really think that this year we've got the leak fixed. Wasn't a big leak, wasn't a fast leak, but it was a leak. And I'm just happy it's never leaked from here, because this would be the really big pain. Some of these rocks, I don't even think I could lift them. All right, so this pump should automatically kick on, or not should, will automatically kick on and start the waterfall as soon as it detects that water levels are right, which is really cool. That's why I got this, because we have automatic water coming in from over here with a kind of like a toilet system where it lifts up when it's full and shuts the input water off. And then this one knows when the pump is, or when the water's high enough in here that it won't hurt the pump, it comes on. And then all of this stuff is smart tech enabled. So from in the house, I can turn it on or off at will. In fact, I could be camping and turn it off. And if a neighbor called and said, hey, your waterfall's leaking, can you turn it off? I've set it to smart plugs. And maybe we can get into that another time. But basically what we're waiting for here now is for this pump to kick on. And as you can see, we have enough water coming in that within 5 minutes or so, the pump really should be ready to go. And the waterfall should be ready to be running. While we kind of wait for this, which I actually think is going to happen any second, I wanted to show you another really important thing that you need. Again, I don't promote, I'm not promoted by any companies, not endorsed or anything, but I have gone through a couple filters, water filters, and been really angry. Because I'd have them for like a year. Let me get this out. I'd have them for a few months and they'd die because of everything that's in my waterfall are just so gross. And you know, especially at the start of the year when the water first comes through. So I have what they call an aqua, wow, can't even read it. I think it's an aqua guard. And it's really great. Inside of it you got an upper filter, then you got a second filter, then you got a third filter, and then you got charcoal rocks. And inside this tube here is a UV system. So not only do you get the filtration from one of these, it also uses charcoal rock to clean. You almost don't need any other additives for your pond if you don't want. Although I'm kind of a believer that your pond should be ran like a swimming pool, but the birds don't really like that. But that's kind of my thoughts on it. Let's see what the name of it is. Aqua Garden. There you go. And this is a great little unit. If you had just a pond, no waterfall, you could actually use this, and it'll squirt water out the top. It glows. Everything's happy. Oh, I just heard the thing sounded like it's starting up. All right, so the pump's now starting to work, and it's going to start filling up. And you can see water starting to fill up in this upper tunnel. Sorry, spiders. I'm sure they're not very happy, the ones that were living in the tube or whatever. Now it starts to come down and fill up this upper pond. Let's get back here. This upper pond will take a minute. You want to make sure you get a big enough pump. Otherwise, your water won't go up fast enough to actually fill up all the tanks and be worthwhile. It'll just come off of this thing looking really lame. My first pumps were kind of like that. So, let me zoom in here. You can kind of see that the upper tank is filling up quickly. And I know this one's kind of a long video, but this is kind of how you do it. Now, we are not going to be able to tell if the spec mix worked yet until we actually get it running for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then check the water level and make sure it's staying on level where it's supposed to. And then I'm going to come back anyway and see all this white. I'm going to use that new color because it looks much closer to the rock color. And heck, maybe I'll even get better at getting it to the same color if I experiment a little. All right, here we go. Now we're starting to come down the second part of the waterfall, and I added extra on this side to hopefully make it go more down the middle. But it looks like it's still mostly happy going on the right. So we'll just have to wait and see as that one fills up more and more and the water fills into little spots to come down. And then, you know, maybe we'll add a little more spec mix over here since I'm gonna add it anyway to kind of get rid of the coloring. And then maybe the waterfall will run more down the center and with more water pressure because it'll be sitting in one specific area. And that's basically, you know, possibly your yearly upkeep on something like this. I don't know if the earthquake helped it any, but hopefully next year it doesn't leak. We're gonna have to see. I may get a pool heater, like a waterfall heater, just a small plate that you put in the bottom, and keep the waterfall heated so that you can run it all year. We'll just have to see what comes, because you don't want stagnant water. Mosquitoes love that crap, and we don't like mosquitoes. So there you have it. And this filter actually is really good. It'll catch the mosquito larva. But you know, that seems kind of gross, but it's really neat because it'll suck in the mosquito larva, and then once it sucks it in, it will get stuck down with the charcoal filter. And then all you have to do is just basically wash the charcoal filter off. You know, just wash the charcoal rocks off, and that's it. You're done. The birds will come eat them wherever you decide to put it. So there you have it. I mean, I guess I could show you how this goes in, since the video is already ridiculously long anyway. So you just pick it up by its handle, and then keep in mind where your plugs are, because you need to be able to make it to the plugs. And so I'm going to go ahead and pause it while I get it in place, basically. All right, so you drop it in, and you kind of like slowly put it in, and water will suck into it. And now you got the wires. Let me move them over by the plug. All right, so we're kind of over by the plug now. And these are waterproof, although I would like to get some more waterproofing, which I don't have yet. And then I just kind of run them under the rock here. Usually I run everything under the rock and then into the plug. Let me go ahead and plug these in, hold on. All right, so we got it plugged in where we can kind of keep it waterproof. Now you can see that there's kind of like a little waterfall topper on there. I'll have to fix that up a little bit, but I can't do that while making the video. I'll basically set it up right and then kind of decide what it's going to look like when it's running. And like I said, this has the UV light in it to help keep out all the gross stuff. And there you have it. There's the waterfall working. Thanks for enjoying it with me.